Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. How are you doing? First things first, is the sound actually working? Because there's a big issue. When I do like the washing up or potter around the house and I put me headphones on, it seems to bugger up the sound. So please tell me that everything's tickety-boo. G-Lid Gaming's in. I have watched your stuff, G-Lid. It was brought to my attention by a fellow bootneck that you had quite a popular channel. So yeah, I've seen your stuff, G-Lid. Welcome to the show. Didn't know you watched. Who else is in? Sound is good. Well done. Slip the ground now then. Matt and Lisa are in. Thank you very much. All the way from Australia, I believe. Pommy bastards. I am a pommy bastard and proud of it. My friend Cads went to live in Australia. His missus got a visa to be a nurse, and he got a job out there as a copper. And he told me, when I first talked to him, my friend, seen him a couple of years on Facebook, he said to me, you can tell that Australia was settled as a prison colony. He said, because it is quite civilized now, but basically it's like England was in the 70s. He said all the blokes get leathered and drink drive. And you see a lot of women with black eyes. So I was like, oh yeah, I guess so. Loud and clear, unfortunately. Necky bastard. Was it the Lone Ranger? None eaten? Oh yeah. Anyway, so I'll give you a quick heads up, but I'm not doing a big shitload of years because there's bloody hundreds here in now. Welcome to, I'll start on Slip the Ground, Arsal, Bobby Crush, Sunflower, Pylord, G-Lid, now then, John Dixon, Baron Flights, Smudger Mick, Purple Mick, lots of mixing tonight. Resistant Geordie, Claire Ellis, Davy Boy, Top Notch Cup of Tea. What a marvellous name that is. Kirky Bally, Zoe Jane, how then, Ginger Mongoose, Kate, thank you for moderating. Primal England, Richie Ballinger, Shea Wilson, Carl Burton, fucking everyone's coming in now. John Ashford, Karen Megson, Audio 178 BPM, Sapper in UAE, that'll do. There's the Oxbridge pleasantries done. I'm just going to have a drink of this, right? I've never tasted this before. It looks like one of those horrible, trendy California things, doesn't it? Probiotic refresher, ginger colada. My wife said she bought it, tasted it, said it was horrendous, so I can have it. So this is my first taste. Let's have a go. Yeah, I can see why she palmed that one off to me. Basically, if you put your granddad's piss in the fridge for 2 hours, that's what you end up with. Fortunately, I'm a bootneck and I have tasted piss before. G-Lid gets it. He knows the crack. Anyway, I am not homosexual, Ron Morgan. I don't have any problem with it, but I don't appreciate name calling. I'm sure you all get the reference. Yeah. You know what is funny about that? I made friends with an Indian Cockney bird called Pretty, and she never uses Cockney rhyming slang. And me and my old fella uses loads. Like everything is Cockney rhyming slang to my old fella. I use quite a lot. My old man loads. She said to my wife, she was like, I'm from London and we never use Cockney rhyming slang. We use it for everything. And ginger beer, you can guess what ginger beer is. Okay, Grandad's cookie. Grandad's cookie. Yeah. I'm from Middlesbrough. Both of my granddads are dead now. They don't out here. They all live to a ripe old age. Like me missus, her granddad's like 99 or something. Both of mine kicked the bucket in the 60s. I think my granddad Fred was like 63. I think my granddad Brian was about 61. Maybe he was even a bit younger, 59 maybe. But basically, they all, in the borough, they all drink fucking 90 pints a week. And my granddad Fred, Bucknut Fred, we used to call him because he went bald when he was about 20. Bucknut Fred smoked more Benson and Edges in a week than the average smoker did in 10 years. The joke around our town was it used to drive a little yellow van, looked a bit like Del Trotters. And everyone used to joke and say the van was fucking white when he bought it. It was like bright yellow. Because the bloke was never, ever seen without a tab in his mouth. I remember when he was making me porridge when I was about 8 and he span around too fast and burnt me head with his fag end. He was always smoking. I don't think I ever saw him without a tab in his mouth. So that's That's a bit, that explains why he didn't live to a ripe old age. He got throat cancer and apparently he responded really well to the treatment. And the doc said to him, if you pack in now and we treat you, you'll actually be able to recover from it. And apparently my granddad quit for like 6 months. And then he was like, fuck it. So he went to see the doctor and was like, if I get back on the Woodbines, how long will I live for? The doctor was like, 2 years. And he went, fuck it, that'll do. Just got back to belt feeding tabs into him at a rapid rate of knots. And I think he lasted about 6. I am drinking this. It tastes like piss, but it's free. That's how it works, yeah? When you're northern. Tastes like piss, free, give me it. Yeah. Down the hatch. Anyway, so let's do some news, shall we? Let's do some news. First things first, this one's funny. You can't see. Yeah, free. The best piss is free. I seen a funny thing on Reddit. It said the least sexual deviant people in Brighton, and it was like 2 people at some fucking conference or whatever, had a pervert conference in Brighton. You know what Brighton's like? Normal places, you've got a Milton Keynes, they have a conference. It's like National Aerospace Engineers Conference. In Brighton, it's like GIMP, Horse Lord, and Sexual Deviant Conference. And they were like talking about it on Reddit. And they were all talking about how much they like drinking piss. There's a bloke there who was like, yeah, I've drank lots of piss, you know, some of it's quite sweet, some of it's quite tangy, you know. Like just the least pervy people in Brighton. Absolute deviants. It's the whole town's full of them, isn't it, Brighton? There is no one in Brighton who walks normally. They've all got a limp because they've all got something in them. Up them or in them. They've all got like cracked lips and walk a bit funny. Crispy. They've all got like been wallpaper in the house when they go for a walk down the high street, you know. And you know why that is? They haven't been wallpapering. If you can't put 2 and 2 together, you're not clever enough for my infantile abuse and double entendres. But they haven't been wallpapering in the house. We'll just leave it there. Tangy. Oh, I like your thumbnail, Paul. American Idiot. I reckon that was in my mini disc player for about a year before I took it out. Got me through my whole second tour of Iraq. Green Day. That was a fucking great album. Anyway. Okay, let's get to this story, shall we? This is the BBC. This is how you know who did it without them telling you who did it, right? And again, I have to make the case that I think in the UK, where we haven't had the same sort of... I was saying that about them. Don't be calling me crispy lip. I've got lips like fucking Weetabix. Yeah. You have Harold. Harold's got lips like Weetabix, and we know why. It's not like in the United States where, you know, there's been this like centuries-long issue with a certain community. I've got to tiptoe around everything. I can swear and make sexual double entendres, but as soon as you get into politics, it starts getting dodgy fucking areas, doesn't it? We don't have the same geographic problems whereby one demographic has been fucking seen off and was part of the slave trade, which did exist in the United States. In the UK, it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. I seen some bloke, there was a black bloke in the street in London with a placard marching down the street, and it said, I built these roads. And I thought, no, you fucking didn't, because you're not a bog rat. You know what I mean? If he had a shillelagh and a green hat with a big buckle on, he might have built the roads, or at least contributed. Again, we have all these stereotypes. Probably 50% of the roads were built by poor working class English twats like my family. But it does make me laugh. Like, every one of them's historically illiterate. And this black bloke, Matty Nungwankbo, right? Matty Nungwankbo had a sign saying, I built these roads. Well, my ancestors built these roads. And if you're black and you're in England, you're probably at best being as long as you've been there as I can think of, you've probably been there about fucking 1, maybe 2 generations. Like, They didn't build fuck all. That's what I'm getting at, Richard. Yeah. Hence the shillelagh and the big daft green hat. You get what I'm saying, right? Matty Nung Nung Wankbo didn't build the fucking roads in London. And I'm not having a pop at anyone. You have to keep making this. The reason a reasonable centre-left chap like me, a socially liberal centrist, gets called a fucking far right and all this bollocks is completely ludicrous is because facts are far right nowadays. Like, I'm not right-wing. I never have been. I didn't support Donald Trump in the fucking beginning. Now, if you're going to make me pick between the fucking orange overlord, now I call him the orange oracle, predominantly because it's funny. But I didn't vote for him in 2016. Didn't even like him. I can find, honestly, I'd show you, but it's embarrassing. If anyone can find it, you can shoot it to the world and embarrass me on my behalf. I wrote a blog post, right, in about 2010 on Google, saying why everyone in America should support Bernie Sanders. Like, I went out 10 years ago, I was a Bernie bro, because I was like, England's about where it should be. America needs to take like 2 steps to the left. And now they call me fucking far right. It's like Russell Brand. Russell Brand was a lefty arsehole with a Marxist fucking tattoo on his bird's nest, getting his cock out at these left-wing protests in London about 10 years ago. Now he's far right. It's like, to call everyone far right. Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat congresswoman for fucking 15 years. And now they're like, oh yeah, she's far right. Basically, if you're normal, they call you far right. So then your response, and this is why Trump's doing so well now, when they say you're far right, then your only response is, well then, okay, then I might as well vote for the people that you think I vote for. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a Trumper, and I don't really like, and I've got no religion, and none of that. There's tons of things I disagree with the actual right in America on, but at least they'll talk to me. Do you know what I mean? If you're gonna like just ostracize me, I'll go and hang out with the people that'll at least speak to me. So I'll go and stick an X in the box next to the fucking orange oracle. Thanks very much. Yeah, exactly. It's better to be far right than far wrong. I can't disagree with that. It is mad. It's mad. Your genre's changed. Right, sorry, I'm ranting and raving. I'll do the story. What I was getting at was the UK doesn't have the same background as the United States. They didn't come to the UK in large numbers until even the 50s, when people talk about the Windrush and all this shit. Look at the numbers. There was hardly any. There was hardly any black people in Britain until the fucking 90s. It was literally like, it only started under Blair. In 1982, the black population of the UK was like less than 1%. There are none. There was none. There just wasn't. So when they say, I built the roads, you didn't, Mr. Nung Wankbo, Umbutu Numbueto, or whatever you're called. You didn't. Your fucking granddad moved there in like 1998. You know what I mean? And you're some spotty teenager. Now, it's probably his dad. It's all bollocks. The history isn't the same. So what I'm getting at is, I'll get there in the end. You know, I like to do things. Yeah. Anyway, you know, I get there in the end. The point I'm getting at is, because we don't have the history, there is no need for the BBC to do this weird, low fucking expectations, dancing around the issue, and just not tell you who does the crime, right? We don't have the same history. Look at this here. You know what I mean? I could understand it if you're in like the deep south in the 50s and you're worrying about the Ku Klux Klan. Maybe you're not going to tell the public that the person who fucking donkeyed one into some teenage girl looks a little bit, he's a bit, how can I put this diplomatically? He's more Bill Cosby than Ed Sheeran. Like that's my diplomatic way. How can I put it? He's a little bit more, I am the captain now, than Macaulay Culkin, right? That's how I'm going to approach this. So the BBC's reported this story, and that's what I'm saying. If you're in the deep south, I can understand them tiptoeing around the issue. You don't want to inflame the public. There's a lot of racial tension. If you're in fucking Nuneaton in England, you just tell the truth. Who are you looking for? Look at this description, right? So you get where I'm going. Look at this description. You know by the description exactly what the bloke looks like. And I'll give you a clue. He's as black as a fireback. He's as black as an Irish Buc-ee's commercial. Yeah, he's as black as an Irish Argos advert, which, if you've seen much Irish TV lately, you know what I'm talking about. A fucking Argos advert in Ireland. So it says, I'll blow it up because it's funny. A teenage girl has been sexually assaulted by a man wearing a black COVID face mask. There's a clue what I'm talking about. The attack happened on the Canal Towpath near Regency Close just before 1600 GMT on 8th of November. The man is described as being in his mid-20s and was also wearing black sunglasses, a big brown jacket with a hood and black jeans. How is that a description? The man is described as being in his mid-20s and also wearing sunglasses. Can you imagine if that was a bank robbery? If I went in, and I'm not particularly descriptive, because, you know, there's fucking 10 million blokes look like me. If I robbed a bank wearing sunglasses and ran out, I reckon they'd be like, right, a white man, 5'9", brown hair, looks like he had blue eyes, but he's wearing sunglasses, chiseled jaw, biceps like stacks of smashed gravel, dashingly handsome, cock a foot long. All right, none of that. Well, the last two. But you know what I'm saying? You'd do better than a man with sunglasses on. I'm just saying, if that was me, they wouldn't be like, put out an APB. What are we looking for? Give me a description, sir. Well, he was in his 20s and he had glasses on. That it? Height, weight, hair colour, eye colour, skin colour, ethnicity. Is that all we've got? Yeah, man, hair, Weetabix lips. That's what. We're looking for Weetabix lips. Put out an APB for Weetabix lips. Yeah, that sadly, Kate, that was humour. It's more like a AAA battery. Eddie Munster, yeah, that's a good one. That was my nickname from my dad till I was about fucking 12. So you know who did it? You know who did it, don't you? Described as being in his 20s with glasses on. You can fucking take glasses off. You might as well put him on. Oh, he had a nose. Okay, what did he look like? Had a nose, ears, nose, mouth. Find him. It's ludicrous. It's fucking ludicrous. It's almost like we're so obsessed with it now that we don't even want to solve crimes anymore. Like a Somalian bloke rapes an old woman and they go, put out an APB. Who are we looking for, Detective Sergeant? We're looking for just a man. Any man? A man. A mystery wrapped in an enigma. Wanted posters. Just a fucking question mark. A man wrapped in a mystery. Tell us what he looked like. Black, light-coloured black skin, dark-coloured black skin, mid-tone, Indian maybe, Persian, whatever. You've got something more than he had a fucking face. Woman raped, had a face and a cock. That's what we're looking for. A face and a cock. Oh, easy. Even Sherlock Holmes couldn't solve that fucking crime, could he? 20s and glasses. That really is as much use as face and a cock, isn't it? That really is. You've got nothing there. 20s and glasses. Fuck off. What a load of shit. The victim is very shaken. Oh, go on then. Tell us about her. Oh, he's also said to be 5'6". Fucking hell, bit of a dwarf. All right, dwarf with a cock. Put out an APB, a dwarf with a cock. We've got a dwarf with a cock. What if was he a dark dwarf? Don't fucking say that. Oh, he put ginger down. Was he ginger? Nah. He had sort of very black, sort of tightly afro. But we don't want anyone to make any erroneous conclusions. Put down, he was a fucking ginger. Just put Ed Sheeran down. Public should look for someone who is 5'6" and looks like Ed Sheeran. Did he look like Ed Sheeran? Well, Ed Sheeran if he was Puff Daddy. Yeah. Ed Sheeran, Puff Daddy. Put that down. Easy. Who did he look like? Put King Charles down. King Charles, yeah. Bill Cosby. Nearly. Close enough. So that's fucking brilliant. Detective Paul Sartoris said, this is an extremely concerning incident. Fucking, see what I'm saying about how they just fill it with bollocks, filler, fluff that nobody wants to read. They've got a description from the bloke because he raped someone. You need to get close for that. I mean, I know they say that they've got bigger cocks, but you need to get close for a rape, don't you? Even if you've got 10 inches on the slack, you've still got to get within 2 feet of them if you're going to horse it into them. So we know we've got a fucking description. She can probably tell you what colour his cock was. And they put one paragraph saying, man in his 20s with a face, and then they do 6 paragraphs saying shit like, because I've got to fill the page, haven't I? I've got to fill the page. Oh, this is an extremely concerning incident. We're keen to identify the... No shit. We know that. Do you need the detective inspector to tell you it was an extremely concerning incident? I'm a grown man. I'm a bootneck. I've got a stiff upper lip and a spinal column, and I'd be extremely concerned if I bent down to tie my shoelaces and fucking some Somalian squirreled his pork sword between my fucking arse cheeks. Be a bit of a surprise. Everybody knows it's a concerning fucking incident, Paul. Paul, we all know. If some bloke bounced on my fucking rusty sheriff's badge, yes, it would be concerning. Get to the fucking point. Innit? It's fucking ridiculous. Exactly, it's all bollocks. It's all bollocks. That's what I'm saying. So they don't tell you anything about the crime because they don't want to solve the crime, because if they find the person that did it, then it might look bad if they have to put a photograph of a bloke on and he's got a fucking bone through his nose, 12 brass rings around his neck. Obviously, not going to look like that. Kidding. But you know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the brass rings around the neck is. I'm just taking the piss. They don't want to put a picture up. They don't want to solve it because they don't want to put a picture up of a bloke who looks more Bill Cosby than Ed Sheeran. So they don't want to fucking solve it. So they don't tell you what he looks like or anything. So they just put shit in there. Ooh, this was an extremely concerning incident. You have to come up with at least 500 words, but only 3 words are allowed to describe the offender. So they're like, oh, okay, just put man, face, nose, and then fucking write 400 words of bollocks about how it's extremely concerning. And I wish to identify the offender. Well, of course you fucking do. Of course you do. Does anybody ever not want to identify the offender? Someone raped me, Dad. Who was it? Surprised you asked me that. You know what I mean? It's a crime. Someone robbed the post office. Who was it? Do you really want to know? Do you? Is that important? Let's talk about post offices. Post offices were invented in the 1700s. The average post office. Did you know, BBC fact, the average post office is comprised of 6,432 bricks? Fuck off. What a lot of bollocks. The victim is upset. Yeah, there's a good one. The victim is upset. Yes, the victim is upset. Let's see how many synonyms we can use for upset. Detective Paul Edwards, what do you think? Oh, yes, I think the victim is definitely most sincerely, soul-crushingly upset. Oh, cheers then. Talk about the criminal, find the fucker. What a load of shit. Anyway, we're going around in circles. It's doing my head in. He added. The girl was being given support. This is what I'm talking about. Imagine you get to the bottom. He added, we pushed her down the fucking stairs. He added, yeah, well, we thought, fuck it. She's already had one good seeing to. Might as well fold her up above a kebab shop next. The girl was being given support. Yeah, I figured so. I mean, I'm an insensitive prick. My missus says I'm insensitive sometimes. But even I wouldn't fucking not support. Imagine. He added the girl was being given support. Like, there's another fucking 8 letters that didn't need to be in there. Even I'd be nice to a rape victim. I wouldn't be like, shit up, put the kettle on, bitch, slap her ass. God, 2 sugars, you cunt. What a load of bollocks. He added, yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? This is what I'm saying. It writes itself, this stuff. It's comedy gold. This is the easiest job. Well, it's not a job. This is an easy hobby. This is easy. Anyone could do comical news commentary because the fucking shit writes itself. You just have to read it. It's like brass eye. All the shit now you see in the news is indistinguishable from 1980s comedy. The whole story reads like a 1980s comedy show, doesn't it? Like I said, down at the very bottom. Oh yeah, put something else in. Oh, he added the girl who's been given spot. Really? Fucking hell, you can't be by surprise there. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that one's done. I promised you at least one news story. How long have I been at it? Jesus, nearly half an hour. I do talk shite, don't I? Right, here's another one. Moving on to a slightly less controversial subject. Let me just have a drink. Okay. On to more pleasing, good humoured topics. Definitely not controversial. Yeah, we've already done the controversial subject, ladies and gents. It's fine. Now we're on to fewer cousins marrying each other in Bradford's. Don't want to even touch that word. Let's say ginger community. Fewer cousins marrying each other in Brad Alabad's ginger community. Okay, let's go. Ed Sheeran, you filthy bastard. What have you been doing? Ed Sheeran's dug up his cousin, as usual. Here we go. Look at that. She's looking a bit askew there, and she's like, fucking hell, not another relative's cock. Jesus, I'm sick of seeing them. The number of people in Bradford's ginger community who have married a cousin has fallen sharply in the past 10 years. Well, fucking finally. 2023. And the cousins slightly less than they were 10 years ago. Well, good job, lads. Good job. You know, you get like good immigrant communities in the United States who are like, you know, Korean or something. And the story's like, Korean grades slip. Did you know 97% of them got grade A star last year, but they're all down to A's now? Ooh, and the community's like, oh no, what have we done? We need to get back on us. These Bronze Age fuckers are like, oh, 2023, there's fucking slightly less relatives than there were in 2013. Oh, get in. Yeah, this is progress, ladies and gentlemen. Fuck me. Again, this is what I'm talking about. The low expectations, the soft bigotry of low expectations. I talk about this all the time because I'm an actual liberal, you know what I mean, who actually thinks about these things intelligently. If I was black or Pakistani, I would despise the BBC and everything they stand for. I told you my mate Jude, he's an Indian lad, an aerospace engineer, and he's proper right-wing. Like me and him used to argue because I was like, I'm not a lefty, a screaming lefty, but I'm not a proper right-winger. He was like, he actually knows what poverty looks like and told me he never even slept in a bed until he came to the United States. He didn't have a bed, slept on the floor in India, got a scholarship, moved to the US, hungry, like so many of them poor Asian kids are, and really made a go of it in America. And now he's an aerospace engineer, makes a lot of money, and he is fucking hardcore Trumper, right? Again, BBC, white middle-class woke blonde people in England pretend they don't exist. He's a broke, poverty-stricken Indian, and he's hardcore on the Trump train because he knows what poverty looks like, and he's tasted it, and he's hungry. And he loves the bloke and was telling me they should put landmines on the border. When I was telling him about how we fix the border problem in America, he's like, landmines? Let's just put some fucking machine gun nests on the border. And this is what I'm talking about. If I was black or Asian, I'd be proper right-wing. Like, because I'm white, I'm not that right-wing. I'm like centrist, libertarian type. But if I was black or Asian, I'd definitely be mega right-wing because this stuff must be cringe. Like, it must be cringe. If I was black and I walked into a room full of middle-class arseholes who read the BBC, I'd cringe because I'd think they're judging me, that they've already decided they know everything about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hate the stereotypes. I've talked about it before. Like, when I was a bootneck, I hated the stereotypes that I used to try and be on my best behaviour in the boozer when you were in some do-good and middle-class area and they think soldiers are all thugs. And I used to be like, yeah, so I don't want to get into a fight or get naked or get paralytic and piss myself at the bar or any of that shit, because you don't want people to be proven right. Do you know what I mean? And these people would knock me fucking sick if I was black or Asian. I would hate them because they're just so fucking pandering. Pandering, it's pathetic. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, they've put this big, massive story, giving them all this praise and credit, because they're slightly less cousin fucker than they were a few years ago. Do you know what I mean? They all rip the piss out of people in Alabama. And it's not even true, is it? If you actually get to Alabama, less than 1% of them fuck the cousins. I've been to Alabama. It's like less than 1% of them. And they love doing that, middle-class white people, especially in America on MSNBC. They're like, oh, these on CNN, oh, these stupid cousin fucking rubes. Remember where they're all like chuckling away? You must have seen it on YouTube, and they're all like, oh, they can't even, I've voted for Trump because they fucked my cousin and they can't even read a map. And what's his name? Trevor Noah and all them knobheads are like chuckling away in the background. Yeah, I'm from Alabama, I'm stupid, I can't read a map. And they all think it's brilliant. And then the BBC will unironically post stories like this and be like, oh, yeah, well done, Joe Dackies. You're only 50% if you're a bum in your cousins. And they think that makes them look progressive and liberal. It's like, no, you're treating them, like I said, there's plenty of people who were born and raised in Middlesbrough whose parents are from Pakistan. And they hate this shit because the cunts who read the BBC, look at him, my mate Arif, like I said, Pakistani, who totally rejected his mum and dad's faith and totally told them to fuck off. Because there's less of them in Borough. That's why. They don't get totally indoctrinated like they do in Brad Alabad. When his mum and dad said to him, you have to marry your cousin, he told us all about it. They said they got like a catalogue out and said, oh, here's the women you can marry. And he was like, yeah, cheers then. He fucked off to Thailand for like a year and come back with some Thai bird that he fucking knocked up out of protest because his parents were trying to get him to do it. You know what I mean? But in Brad Alabad, there's so many of them that there's no way out of it. So they all just get brainwashed, skull fucked by mum and dad. And that's a normal British Pakistani born and raised in England. They reject that shite when they've been hanging around with normal kids, native kids. They turn native. That's why integration used to work. It used to work when I was a bairn because I grew up in the 80s. And in the 80s, there was not that many of them. So there'd be one Pakistani lad surrounded by 10 local lads. And in 20 years' time, the lad's well integrated, which is what I've always told you, look, which is why I'm not on board with the hardcore right-wingers who are like, yeah, throw everybody out. You have to do it on an individual basis. Yeah, we need strong immigration controls and strong border controls and background checks and all the stuff that I agree with the very right wing on. But you can't tell me that it's right wing to have a desire to see well-maintained, well-integrated, happy, English-speaking kids. It's a good thing if it's a trickle. Immigration has to be managed and a trickle. You've got a link to the one. It was his fucking catalogue. Mr. Singh had the catalogue. Sniper sake, not me. But yeah, well, again, you can have that. As I said, I'm willing to meet the very right wing halfway. There's a lot of things I do. Anyone who steps a foot wrong, fucking throw them out. But I cannot get on board the broad brush stuff because I grew up with one of my best mates in school was an Indian lad. And then Atif was one of my good mates when I was a teenager. And there were sound Borough lads who totally rejected all of the fucking teachings of the parents. Said it's bollocks. And that's the point I'm getting at. And you don't get that when there's too many people. So now they're reporting this as if it's a fucking win. as if it's a win. The number, anyway. Before I keep ranting, I'll read you the story. We do have to do the news, or it wouldn't be called the BBC Spews. The number of people in Bradalabad's ginger community who have married a cousin has fallen sharply in the past 10 years. A study suggests higher educational attainment, new family dynamics, and changes in immigration rules thought to be possible reasons. Jurwar Ahmed married her cousin in 1988. The 52-year-old teacher says her children once asked her how she and their father met. I was laughing at them. I said I didn't really meet. My parents took me to Leeds, and my dad said, "You're going to marry this person." I sort of knew who he was, but the first time I met him properly was at the wedding. Yeah, very civilized. And they take the piss out of people in Alabama. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? Ludicrous. That is like third world shit. Encouraged in England and by subsequent British governments. And these lunatics thinks this is good news, that they're down to about 50%. 50%. My kids told me it's disgusting. Don't you dare make us do anything like this. 10 years ago, researchers studying the health of more than 30,000 people in Bradalabad found that about 60% of babies in the ginger community had parents who were first or second cousins. But a new follow-up study of mothers in 3 inner city wards finds the figures dropped to 46%. Fucking. I want to clap for that. Well done. Well done. 2023, and we've managed to fucking drag nearly half of you into the modern age. I mean, can you believe it? 46. Yes, you've read that right, Carl Burton. 46%. I told you my favourite Chubby Brown joke, didn't I? I've told you about it. Long-term viewers have seen me do it. It's a Chubby Brown joke. He said, I got invited to a Pakistani wedding the other day. The cake was made out of pure fucking shit. Still, kept the flies off the happy couple. I told you, I love that. I love Chubby Brown. I listened to them tapes when I was a kid. I think I heard that joke when I was about 8 years old. That's why I've got a good sense of humour now, because I grew up listening to Chubb's tapes when I was a kid. Yeah, I'll get through this by the end of this stream, damn it. Yeah, quality that, innit? Kept the flies off the happy couple. Fucking Chubbs. Genius, man. Anyway, so 46% we're winning. We're winning. Oh, yeah, reading Viz. I've got every Viz annual. Like I said, what my old fella used to let me read whenever I wanted. I used to listen to his tapes when I was about 10 and read the Viz all the time. And it gave me a lifelong sense of humour. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah, Piss Pot was my favourite. I remember being about 10, listening to Piss Pot on my dad's boogie box, Ghetto Blaster. I've heard. Well, everything else has, Carl. Everything else has. So why would we expect the Viz to be any different? Did you ever hear the boot with your boot? No, I didn't. You can tell me that one in the chat, Kate. Go on then. I'll read some more story while you get to it. The original research also has demonstrated that cousin marriage roughly doubled the risk of birth defects, though they remained rare. Doubled the risk of birth defects. And again, this just shows you the total collapse of law and order, really. It proves that racism and prejudice became more of an issue to the government, that they will not enforce the law. And as I said, there's no need to go on about it too much, because the fact that they didn't do anything about little kids getting tortured and raped is proof that the law doesn't get enforced. But even that, the fact that they let them get away with it when for everybody else it's illegal and it doubles the risk of birth defects is criminally irresponsible, isn't it? Because you know what I mean? They do it overtly and just don't prosecute them for raping young girls. But you're even damning future generations of Pakistani children by not enforcing the law and stopping them marrying the fucking cousins, because they've got double the risk of birth defects. And those of you that pay attention, like I do, are probably aware of all this. Joe Rogan was told this statistic many years ago. I don't remember who he was interviewing now. I just remember listening to his podcast, and someone was throwing these facts at him that he didn't believe. It might have been Sargon, actually. And he didn't believe it. And as he did always, he said, Google it, Jamie. And he got it, and he Googled it, and it was Baroness Varsi. Baroness Varsi talked about this 10 years ago and said, it is endemic. Fucking your cousin. It's endemic. You have double the amount of birth defects. And they didn't do anything about it, which is what I keep telling you. If they're not going to do anything about them raping little girls and sometimes killing them, they will let them do anything. And that's why it astounds me that there's people in the chat still think I'm surprised. They contact me on Facebook and say things like, can you believe they didn't arrest them for jumping on the cenotaph? I was like, they didn't arrest them for fucking kids. They didn't arrest them for humping 100,000 little girls above kebab shops, and you think they're going to arrest them for jumping on a war memorial? The staff, the entire staff at Borough's premier kebab shop, Abracababra, the entire staff of Abracababra could kick my fucking front door in if this was still going on in Middlesbrough, bend me over that bar and bum me till my fucking head fell off, and the police wouldn't arrest them. Because that's bad for social cohesion. So please, those of you that spam me with messages like, oh, can you believe that they didn't arrest them fucking lads from Brazalabad for burning the flag? Can you believe they didn't arrest them lads for minor public order fracas when they were shagging kids for 20 years? Of course, I can fucking believe it. You're a lunatic for thinking that they would ever arrest them. Thanks, Matt and Lisa. As from an old squaddy, I know that royals are as tight as a mackerel's ass. Well, I am also northern, so it's a double whammy. But thanks anyway. Rest assured, I will spend that on something that tight people would drink, like 24 cans of the cheapest shit I can possibly get my hands on out here in California. So thanks very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, of course they're not arresting them. 1 million? Yeah, okay. There you go. If they're not going to arrest them for bumming kids, they won't arrest them for anything. Anything. There's nothing worse. There's nothing. Can we just draw a line under it? I'm sick of making this point again and again and again. There's nothing worse than torturing and raping little kids. Is there? Just put it out there. Anyone think of anything worse? Burglary, drug dealing, mugging, rape, armed robbery, shotgun a postal worker. Nothing. There's nothing worse than torturing, raping and killing kids. And they didn't care. And they didn't do anything about it. And they covered it up. And the government helped them. And the police helped them. And the courts helped them. So they're not going to arrest them. Just accept the fact. Here we go. When Chubby asks why he's got magazines and the guy in the next queue has a sexy nurse, he's told it's because you're not in boot. Yeah. Well, most jokes don't work as well via the medium of text, Kate, but thanks for that. I'll remember it and I'll try and do it as a pound shop Chubby Brown in 6 months' time when everybody's forgotten it. You're not in boot, man. What was the other one he told that made me laugh about the hospital? He said, I was in the hospital last week. He says that the hospital was full of fucking lunatics. He says there was a bloke in the bed next to me. There was a West Indian bloke in the bed next to me. He was getting a hole drilled in his top lip so he could see where he's going when he's fucking whistling. And then he says, there's an Indian lad in the bed across from me. He'd been eating that kitty cat. He said it was funny. His stomach was all right, but he'd hurt his neck licking his ass. That's just too more. I've got tons of Chubbs jokes in my head. Just too many years. Too many years as a child listening to his fucking tapes. What else have we got going on here? Don't depress me anymore. I have to live in Rotherham. Oh, no. Are you going to do the Python Vikings sketch? The Back Skull. That was one of his old songs, wasn't it? Did you get any money off YouTube? Not yet. It's been like 28 days or something, hasn't it? They still haven't paid me, the motherfuckers. I'm hoping that's going to happen shortly. It might have been Douglas Murray. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was Douglas Murray. I just remember hearing it. Anyway, back to the news. You keep dragging me away, you lot. So, double the birth defects. Criminal that didn't do anything about it. In just under a decade, we've had a significant shift from cousin marriage being a majority. Look at that. In a sense, a majority activity. In a sense, when 80% of the town is bumming the cousin, that is a majority activity. It's not in a sense, is it? In a sense, if I just get me piece out now and start fucking bashing the bishop in front of a live stream, I'm not, in a sense, pulling myself off on a webcam, am I? That's exactly what I'm doing. Exactly what I'm doing. In a sense. I love it. Everything they say is bollocks. Yeah. Everything they do, minimise everything, try and make it sound better, don't they? In a sense. No, 80% of them were doing it. Dirty bastards. It's not in a sense. Fuck me. No, Bobby. No, it's now 46%. It used to be 76%. Read the fucking story before you think I can't do maths. Minority. It was like 80% of the fucking year ago. Eventually, I suppose so. If you're going to be Hoy's, well, he lives in the southwest now, so he's obviously trying to minimise it as well. We've all seen the big-eared boys in the southwest, Hoy. We've all seen them. Although no, Norfolk's worse, isn't it? Norfolk's worse. Anyway, so yeah, in a sense, it was definitely a majority activity. It was definitely a majority activity, and it's now just about a minority. Oh, just about nearly there. The effect will be fewer children with congenital anomalies. Well done. Give yourselves a clap. Disgustingly immoral. They let them rape, torture kids, fuck the cousins for 50 years, knowing that it would have resulted in thousands and thousands of children being born with fucking ears on the neck, webbed feet, fucking sloth. Quato, the effect will be fewer Quato start the fucking reactor. That's what that sentence should say. The effect will be fewer quid start the reactor. Freema. Remember, sensible people know what I'm talking about. Yeah, brilliant that. Cousin marriage is widespread among gingers. Filthy bastards. Sometimes a young person in Bradford is married to a ginger and they come and live in the UK. And then the members of the community say, brilliant, let's all fucking do it. And the next thing you know, sloth and master blaster are running affairs. Happy days. Love that. Our generation really fought for it, says one three-eyed, toothless fucking mutant. Giving them credit for nothing. Our generation really fought for it. Yeah. Cheers, love. Cheers, Quato. Our generation really fought for it, said one grotesque young woman with a club foot. 10 years ago, my mum was adamant we would all have cousin marriages. Fuck me. Does your mum look a bit strange? 10 years ago, my mum was adamant we would all have cousin marriages, but now she doesn't focus on that. Now she focuses on the fact that she's got a foot growing out of her fucking ass. Hey, thanks, Sniper Sight. We might have a chance of winning in cricket from now on then. What? Three-armed fucking batsman? Yeah, when the batsman looks like Ganesh, he's like, fucking 12 bats when he goes up to stand at the stumps. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Everything's gone tits up. I think families realised they couldn't control it. They knew that being in Britain and being exposed to so many different viewpoints, it's going to change. Hey, fucking hell, she looks normal. I thought she'd have one eye up here, one eye down there. Fucking, that's a bit weird. You can still marry your people. How backwards are they? They're telling them mutant kids, cousin fuckers, quote, Bradford teenager. You can still marry your people. Sorry, you can still marry your people. Fucking, they're unbelievable, these. Absolute fucking bumpkins. The Born in Bradford study originally recruited 12,453 pregnant women to see how many of them gave birth to slithering, slippery things. Things that could barely be called human. Made the doctor shit his pants and go, kill it, kill it. Instead of giving it to the nurse and say, congratulations, it's a boy. They just go, kill it, kill it, kill it, drop it. When the doctor starts stamping on it, just throws it to the floor. You know what it reminded me of? A birth in Bradford. Do you remember on Alien? No, Aliens, where they find out that the sneaky, slippery bastard Burke has let the facehugger into the. He's let the facehugger go in the in Newton Ripley's room, and he's plotting to kill them. And they wake up in the middle of the night and they realise there's a facehugger in there with them. So she sets off the sprinkler systems, manages to like hold it off long enough until the Marines come in to save them. And then there's a bit where it's like got its thing around her neck and it's trying to kill her. It's like, yeah, trying to get the tube down her neck. And the Marines grab it and he's like, over there, over there. And he's like, are you ready? Yeah, you're ready. Yeah, and he throws it into the corner and then he's like, and he fills it full of fucking lead. That is how they do live births in Bradford, right? The nurse is wearing like one of those hockey fucking masks, like a hockey goalkeeper, and a big pair of fucking lead gauntlets. Basically, the delivery, the midwife looks like a welder. Got a face mask on, a pair of gauntlets, and then they stand next to the gash, and here it comes. It's like that, trying to slithering out between the piss flaps, and they launch it at the wall, and then the SAS coming with MP5s and fucking trying to get rid of it. That's a live birth in Bradford Hospital. I might clip that and put that on YouTube on its own. That's funny. Although probably against the terms of service. We'll just pretend. I'll just dub over the bit where I said Bradford and we'll say Middlesbrough, and then it'll be fine. Middlesbrough birth. I'll do the Middlesbrough in a Chinese voice. You know, like the dubbing's really bad on kung fu movies. I'll do it like that in reverse. So we'll go from my dulcet northern tones to Middlesbrough. I'll say it like I'm Nigerian for the dub version. That's a live birth in Middlesbrough. My lips barely move. Live birth in Middlesbrough. Anyway, I'll get to the end of this story if it kills you and me. The Born in Bradford study recruited 12,000 women. They were all joined the project when they were born. The health has been tracked ever since. 2,378 mothers were recruited and compared them with 2,317 participants from the original. In both cases, mothers of ginger heritage made up between 60 and 65% of the total. 62% in the original group were married to a first or second cousin. The fall was even steeper in the fast-growing subgroup of mothers. For those educated beyond A level, the proportion married to a cousin was already lower than average. Or, yeah, because people that are intelligent don't fuck the cousins. I mean, there's shock horror. Shock horror. Did you know people that can read and write don't typically act like they're thick as shit? There's a headline. Although the women included in the latest study are from less affluent inner city wards, the researchers say they are still representative of certain mothers in Bradford as a whole. Professor of Health Research Neil Small, who's been involved with the Born in Bradford project, says a number of possible explanations for the rapid fall is now being explored in consultation with the community. Oh, and we'll just have a nice, polite consultation. Yeah, well, if it was anybody else, if it was in Scotland and they were all fucking the cousins, the coppers would grip them and say, stop putting your cock in your cousins, you mucky Scotch twats. And it'd stop. They'd say, if you keep fucking your cousin, we're going to fuck you. And you, Hamish McTatty, are going to get 20 years in the nick, you mucky little bastard. That's how they dealt with it. They dealt with it in 2 years. If it suddenly turned out that cousin marriage was fucking 80% of the tune in Newcastle, the fucking state had put a stop to it in fucking 6 months. But because they happened to have a bit of a town, folding up your first cousin was fucking the norm for 50 years. So, don't know what that's all about. The Gobbletron. A waxing miracle. You always remind me about the Gobbletron 3000. You are just champing at the bit for me to make it, aren't you? I'll have to 3D print the Gobbletron. That's a Kickstarter waiting to happen, that. Anyway, that's nearly an hour, and I haven't got enough vocal cords left to do the last story. Suffice it to say, Elon Musk is being slandered by ridiculous commie fucking dogs, and he didn't say anything controversial at all, if you can read a long sentence. Yeah, the BBC. So if they know what a woman is when she's from a certain community, who go fucking apeshit if they start pushing critical gender bending fucking nonsense. They're the only ones who don't have to do it at school. Your kids have to learn all about sucking grandpa off when they're 8 years old. But the lads who go to the regulars at Alan's snack bar, they're the only ones that don't have to teach the children shit like that. Yeah, you all know the crack. Anyway, right. I will call it a day there, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a fucking sore throat. Clearly, I drink too much, and I don't drink enough. I don't drink enough fluids that isn't booze or cold granddad's piss. So yeah, thanks to everybody for checking in. Thank you to those of you that sent me money for booze, and thanks to everybody that joined the channel as a member, so I can get $1,000 off Niall and Suza and all of those other lying fucking rat bags that run this infernal platform and that carbuncle on the arse of humanity that we call Silicon Valley. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. I will try and get a video made at some point this weekend and post it. I might clip that alien skit because that was quite good, wasn't it, on the fly? And yeah, thanks for tuning in. All right, toodle pip. Cheers.